Now let us see chapter 10. See, in this chapter we could see Tom and Huckleberry, they ran away, they scared out of their minds. பயத்தில் அப்படியே நடுங்கி ஓடியே போயிடுறாங்க. Okay, they flee. The two boys flew on and on toward the village, speechless with the horror. The horror filled. They were young boys, no? So their mind is fully filled with the horror. They glanced backward over their shoulders from time to time, whether anyone is following them. பின்னாடி யாராவது துரத்திக்கிட்டு வர்றாங்களான்னு அப்பப்போ அப்படி திரும்பி திருப்பி பார்த்துட்டே ஓடுறாங்க. Okay, they glanced backward, then apprehensively, as if they feared they might be followed. Okay, then at last these two boys, they took refuge. Refuge means adaikalam. Okay, they took refuge in the abandoned tannery. See, there was a tannery, it was abandoned. Nobody visits that place. Okay, it's a curiously spooky place to hide after witnessing a murder. Okay, these two boys, they took refuge in that abandoned tannery, and these two boys, they want to tell the authorities of the village what has happened, but at the same time they know that Indian Joe will come after them. Okay, if they do, if they complain Indian Joe will be against these two boys. அதையும் நினைச்சுக்கிறாங்க, இன்ஜுன் ஜோவும் இவங்களை எதிர்ப்பான் அப்படின்னு நினைச்சுக்கிறாங்க. So these two boys, they decided to keep their traps shut. Okay, in order to make sure that they are not tempted to tell, they write up a contract. These two boys, they wrote a contract. What is that contract? Not to tell anyone else about this secret. Okay, so they write up a contract and seal the deal in the blood. Okay, and the contract, just I will explain you now. They seal the deal in blood. Yes. Okay, Tom just unwound the thread from one of his needles, and these two boys pricked the ball of his thumb. In the thumb, I play just pricking with the needle. Okay, and they squeezed out a drop of blood. Okay, they squeezed out a blood, they squeeze பண்றாங்க. Okay, from their thumbs, and a drop of blood fallen, and in time, after many squeezes, okay, Tom managed to sign his initial as H, H for Huckleberry and Finn. They both, okay, they just squeezed the blood and they wrote H and F as their initials. H for Huckleberry and F for sorry. They just wrote H and F. I will refer and tell you this later. So they just completed their oath. Oath means promise. Okay, this is what they just completed their oath. Soon after, what happened? After sealing that contract, okay, by writing their initials H and F, they heard a stray dog howling. Okay, stray dog, street dogs, தெரு நாய் அப்படி howling, ஊளையிடுது. Okay, which apparently means one of them is going to die. Okay, one of them is going to die. This is what they just imagined. Okay, the two promises. Okay, those two boys, Huckleberry Finn and maybe H and F for Huckleberry Finn. Okay, the initials. That's what Tom wrote. Okay, the two promises. The two boys promise to change their ways. Okay, if they survive, And until they notice that the dog has got its back to them, they are in the clear way now. Okay, oh, it is not ghost or it is not somebody else, just a dog is following them. So their mind is in a clear way. After that, again they could hear another sound, and this is not the sound of a dog, but it is somebody's snoring sound. Somebody's snoring. SNORING. Snoring na korata vidrat. Okay. As you all know, just I shall type here. Okay. SNORE. Snore means korata vidrat. Okay. BELCH. Belch na burp. That another term is also there. Burp. ஏப்பம் விடுறது. There is also a medical term called irritation. Irritation. Okay. So these are all the three words for ஏப்பம். Okay. Burp, irritation, and snore means, of course, you know, koratai. Okay. So these two boys, they could hear the snoring sound, especially the snoring sound of Muff Potter. Okay, they could hear the snoring sound of Muff Potter. They found Muff Potter sleeping in the corner. Okay, and the stray dog is facing right toward him. The stray dog, the street dog, it is facing right toward Muff Potter, and that's a bad sign for Muff. You must understand that the dogs will identify and it will sniff the blood, because now the knife is in the hands of Muff Potter. So the dog just faces right toward Muff Potter. Okay. Then they tried to reassure themselves that such silly superstitions don't mean anything else. Then they had heard slaves talking about these things, and slaves know what is up when it comes to superstitions. Okay, so this is what happened. Then these two boys, Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer, they parted their ways. They parted. And Tom again sneaks back into his bedroom late night. Okay, it was late night. Tom sneaks again back, okay, into his bedroom. When he comes down the next morning, okay, he finds his family looking terribly sad. ரொம்ப சோகமா எல்லாரும் உட்கார்ந்து இருக்கிறாங்க. என்ன இவ்வளவு சோகமா இருக்கிறாங்கன்னு பார்க்கறான். Okay, and after breakfast, Aunt Polly lets Tom know how awful he has made her feel. Then this time, this Aunt Polly did not scold Tom, but instead she wept over him and asked him how he could go on, okay, and how he could break her heart, okay, this old heart, okay, she said. And finally, Aunt Polly told him to go on, that you are ruining yourself, and she talks to herself that Tom is ruining, okay, and her hair, Aunt Polly's hair becomes gray. It becomes gray in color because of sorrow. In her own words, I could tell, Tom brings her gray hair with sorrow to the grave. இவ இறக்குற அந்த கிரேவுக்கு போற வர டாம் வந்து இவளை போட்டு ரொம்ப தொல்லை கொடுத்து, okay, Tom is of course a troublesome boy, of course, you know, so her hair will be turned into white hair, okay, நரைச்ச முடியா போயிடும் அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. And Tom never expected these lines. This was worse than 1,000 whippings. ச்சே, இதுக்கு நான் 1000 சாட்டை அடி கூட வாங்கியிருப்பேன். ஆனா இப்படி சொல்லிட்டாங்களே நம்ம ஆண்ட் போலி. Okay, Aunt Polly has insulted him a lot, and he became sorrow with his heavy heart. Okay, he became sorer, ரொம்ப புண்படுத்திய நெஞ்சா அவன் வந்து அங்க இருக்கிறான். Again, he cried and he pleaded for forgiveness. Please forgive me, and please forgive me, and I will reform again. I will reform over and over again. Okay, he says he begs her forgiveness, but leaves for school, feeling terrible. அப்படியே அந்த பயத்தோடையும் ரொம்ப சோகத்தோடையும் he moved to school, okay, with his gloomy face. And after that, in school, in the last chapter, we saw that Joe Harper and this boy Tom, they both they just played hooky in the school, so they were flogged. Okay, sorry, these two boys, Tom Sawyer and Joe Harper, they get flogged for playing hooky in the school, and Tom sits down and stews in his misery for a while. அவன் அப்படியே ரொம்ப சோகத்தையே நினைச்சுக்கிட்டே இருக்கிறான். He could not forget.
I'm sorry to interrupt, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, we could not see your screen, ma'am.
Just a minute.
Now we can see, ma'am.
Okay. So what happened? Now could you see, ma'am? So what happened? These two boys, okay, they were got punishment, okay, for playing hooky in the school. Just then, Tom notices his brass knob on the desk. Okay, or a brass knob, the calendar on the desk. Just the chapter is ended like this. Okay, so he is thrown into a deeper and darker mood. That's what this chapter ends.